I think that it has to do with the fact that I would explain it like Singapore is a city that kind of surrendered itself to modernity without any reservation, right? This is quite unique. It's very specific, right? It's this kind of a no hesitation about, you know, modernizing everything, right? It is something that has not been felt in Europe in any, let's say, comparable way, right? And with that, I mean specifically, let's say, areas of our you know, culture or interaction with the world that can be understood as specific impediments to progress. And this is nature and history. Singapore is exceptional example of a city who, where I think it really has to do with the historical context. It was not a constitutive part of Singaporean identity to preserve the urban fabric and the buildings and the monuments and the kind of, you know, cultural practices of the colonial society, right? This was not a kind of an obligation. It's a very specific situation, you know, that has to do really with the post-colonial moment, right? And with trying to construct a new identity which had no sort of memory basis in the colonial Singapore. The question became, okay, who are we, right? Who are we? How do we represent ourselves? And then it emerged, I think, for them that, you know, you know, basically, you know, global business in which they, you know, were able to, you know, secure a prominent role, you know, became their identity, right? And you have people like Ben Huat writing about it, you know, Singaporean sociologist. He says, success is our identity. There is perhaps a similar story to be told about, you know, the landscape or the nature and so on. So there is not a kind of a idea of landscape connection to the sea, for example, the experience of a maritime culture, right, through maritime trade, fishing and so on. It's something that has probably a stronger continuity or a stronger presence, or is more strongly felt in the Malay community, right? Or, for example, across the border in you know, Batam and in Johor, you know, than in Singapore, right? So it's a quite specific situation which allowed for this kind of incredible celebration of progress, you know, modernity without reservation, right? Everything should be made, right, from scratch. Singapore has sort of invented itself since the independence as a modern city, you know, progressive, etc., no? Artificial, and, you know, everything which comes with that. But I think that what will happen in the future is quite different, right? That there is now a young generation, and they will not continue the same paradigm. We just have to wait another 5 or 10 years, and there will be a very new kind of thinking also applied in Singapore and, you know, within institutions as well. You know, I think they are people who are interested in kind of a specific forms of identity, right? They don't want to identify themselves with a kind of a global modernity, right? And you know, the business and so on, right? They want specific forms of identity. You know, exactly what I was talking about. Places that they remember. You know, they want to have history. 50 years after independence, they can speak about authentic history, right? And it will be history which will be not like 1,000 years long. It's 50 years long, but it will be specific.